and today we're going to be talking about IEW's theme-based unit studies. Now, I am a former public and private school teacher, and I resigned from that to homeschool my kids, which I've been doing for over 10 years, and I've also been using IEW for over 10 years. So I've gone through so many of these theme-based unit studies, as well as their structure and style. So to give you kind of an overview of how it works, all of them are very, very similar in the layout with the titles of the unit, the order of the unit, which I'll show you later in this video. The structure and style is going to have a video component, but it is also not themed. So it is a really good idea that if you're unfamiliar with IEW, and your kid's unfamiliar with IEW, start with the structure and style. It's going to make things a lot easier. And once you're comfortable and you want to go with a theme base, go with a theme base. All of the theme-based and structure and styles are divided up into 3 levels that very much connect with the classical approach of education. So you have level A, which is going to be your elementary school kids. Your level B is going to be middle school. And level C is going to be your high school. So yes, I am sharing with you this one right here, Bible-based writing lessons. This one, on the website, they put down that it is 9th through 12th grade, which is a level C. There is a level A, is amazing. It's called Bible Heroes. I have a video reviewing that one. I'll stick that up here in the cards. That one, I feel like, is such a good companion to the Bible-based writing levels. So if you do Bible Heroes when they're in elementary school, and then when they get to high school and they do the Bible-based writing lesson, it's kind of a nice little like review. Also, if you have a kid that's in elementary school and a high school kid, and they're both doing them at the same time, I think that's amazing. You can have lots of fun discussions as you're going through writing and lots of similarities and differences. But also, like I said, the layout is very, very similar because they're all going to have the same unit topics as you go through. And of course, when you're doing high school, you're going to have more, actually. This one has 9, but it also has an added extra one, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. Elementary school, level A, does not go through all the units. Also, when you get into high school, these units are going to be more in depth and more meaty. Also, all the units are going to build upon each other. Okay, instead of me just talking about this, let me kind of show you this in the books. Now, when you do order the books, of course, you're going to get a student manual and a teacher manual. The teacher manual just gives you a little bit more information to kind of walk you through it. But I am going to show you the student manual in this video so you can see what they see. So here is the table of contents. So as you can see, you have the different units, studies right down here, and within each of the units you have all the different lessons. And so just to kind of go over a little bit about each one of these and what they're about, and they're about different types of essays and papers that you would write. You have note making and outline, and that's the first one because with IEW you need to learn how to take notes, right? And you need to learn their specific type of outlining, which is called a keyword outline. And you use that because, like I said, they all build upon each other. You're going to be using that throughout the entire book. Unit 2 is going to be writing from notes. So you got to learn how to take the notes and then how to write from it. Then Unit 3 is retelling a narrative story. So this is that type of writing, narrative. And of course with IEW there's a lot of rewriting because it's very much similar to the Suzuki method. If you have ever played a musical instrument, specifically the string instruments like viola, violin, cello, they do use the Suzuki method. Basically, you are taking a classical piece and you are learning it so well that eventually you can reproduce it. Learning the classics, giving you the good stuff so you can create things that are quality. That's the idea behind this program. So everything builds upon each other. I think I've said that like 10 times. So we go down to Unit 4, which is references. All right, right here in Unit 4. So you're going to be learning about references. And then Unit 5 is writing from pictures. Unit 6 is summarizing multiple references. So one of the questions I get a lot with IEW is, are you writing research papers? Yes, you are. And you are learning how to write a bibliography. And so this is where you come into the reference. This is one reference. This is multiple references. The only thing that you're not actually doing is going out there and looking for the research material online and through, online sources. And that's an easy thing to teach. I personally think so. The hard part is actually getting those references and organizing them and creating a paper from that. And this is actually what that teaches you how to do. Like I said, they do teach you a bibliography. Okay, so when you get into Unit 7, you're going to be doing inventive writing. And actually, if you look at the lessons, they're doing the Good Samaritan in the Garden of Eden. So maybe you can kind of see where that's going. Then you've got formal essay models. And so faith in Christ, foreshadowing in the Bible, the responsibilities of a Christian, 1, 2, and 3. Those are really cool topics. And then you've got a formal critique and response to literature. Then the last one, which is not one of their main 9 units, is going to be classical arrangement for argumentative essays. It's going to look similar to this format layout with all the different unit studies. So a little bit more about this book in general. I did show you a couple of the topics. I did want to show you the rubric that comes at the end of each of the lessons. This is going to be for lesson 2, Into the Arc. So if you look at it, it seems fairly short. It's a checklist of what you need to do to write a good paper. But if you go and flip back to, let's say Unit 9, Lesson 24, you're going to see that it is a lot longer. So it builds. Like I said, it builds on itself. It's adding things. At the end of IEW, it does sometimes feel like the student is stuffing things in the paper. And it's going to feel that way because they're wanting you to practice good structure and good style. Your kid is eventually going to walk away from IEW. They're not going to be stuffing essays with a bunch of these things forcefully. And we all know that if we practice doing something over and over and over again, it starts to become a part of who we are. And so once they walk away from IEW, the idea is that you're going to take a lot of that with you. You may not be stuffing a lot of that stuff into your essays, but you're going to find a happy medium where you include some of that stuff. And by including a lot of that stuff, you're going to be making your essays readable and interesting. You're going to find kind of like this happy medium of what sounds good, what doesn't sound good, and the student will be able to tell. So that overstuffing is there on purpose, which is basically to get them practicing a lot in a short amount of time. Now, I will say that's my understanding and observations of this. Another question that people ask me is, how long do you spend on each lesson? So in this particular book, 31 lessons, which pretty much equals out to 31 weeks. However, I will say this is just my advice based on what I've experienced, what I've done with my kids. A lot of people will say, when you do a curriculum and you get to the end of the year, just stop doing it. Don't worry about it anymore. You don't have to finish. I hear that over and over again. You don't have to finish the curriculum. I would not agree with that when it comes to IEW because it's building on itself. If you have to take 2 weeks to do one lesson, I would do it. It's more important for them to grasp the concept and do a good job with it than to rush right through it to just get to the next one. And if that means it takes you a year and a half to do one whole book or 2 years to do one whole book, they are going to get so much out of it, maybe more out of it than if they are just trying to rush right through it. I think sometimes we get into this public school mindset where we think we have to finish things by a certain date, and that's not true for homeschool. We are looking at quality over quantity. And so if that means we take one book, do it for 2 years at a quality level, that's going to be better than trying to rush through a bunch of these books where the kids aren't really retaining the information. It's usually a week per lesson. And it usually starts off a week per lesson, but as you get to the end where it's built so much upon itself, take longer if you need to. I know that we've done like 3 weeks per lesson towards the end, but I would highly recommend that with this one, because of the way it's built, get through it. You want to get through the entire book, even if you have to take a break in the middle of it. Now, the other thing I wanted to share with you with these theme-based unit studies is, of course, you're doing comprehension. Of course, you're doing writing. Of course, you're adding grammar and style and that kind of stuff. Good complementary grammar book is their Fix It Grammar series. Amazing. I have a video on that as well. But if you go to the appendix of the book, you can see that it does teach you a little bit about the MLA style. And then on the next page, they also have some recommendations for some literature studies. A lot of people ask me too, is IEW a complete language arts program? I think it is. I think it is if you pair it with Phonetic Zoo, if you pair it with Fix It Grammar. Here's some more books that you can add to this one. And then they have a thesaurus, a miniature one, a critique thesaurus. The very last part of the appendix is the vocabulary, which vocabulary is another part of ELA, but they actually show you all the new vocabulary words that they teach per lesson. They have a nice little diagram. And then they have these cards that kind of have pictures on it that help you remember. And yes, I know it's high school, but you know what? Whatever works, guys, to help you remember things. On the back of the card, not only do they have the definition, but they have a sentence where you can add the word verbally to it. So I do have a link in the description box below if IEW is something that you are looking at and you want to go more in depth on their website to look at the different theme-based unit studies as well as their structure and style, which is fabulous. I also have a playlist on IEW, a lot of different videos if you're looking for something specific. So check both of those things out and I will hopefully see you guys in my next video. Bye.